like to welcome the data analytics instructor that is already here. Um, we finished the previous sessions quite earlier, so I don't want it to go late into the night. That is why I'm trying to hurry up the process. Now, Mr. Leslie F. Young, I want you to quickly say hi to the people that are present.
Um, Hello, good evening, everybody. It's nice to be here. Sorry that uh, we had to quickly, change the schedule. So I'm just joining in right now. But it's nice to have everybody on board. And yeah, so Mr. Prosper.
All right, perfect. Mr. Leslie F. Young is one that I've been working with for quite a while now. So um, he's a very good instructor, and I believe the people that are going to be enrolling for the data analytics course are going to find it interesting learning from him. All right. Very briefly, I don't have to go into all the introductions again. I believe we don't have any new person present, or new persons are just coming in. So now we would like to quickly go straight into what we have for data analytics. So, Mr. Leslie F. Young, I would like you to quickly introduce yourself and let us know your background in data analytics or business analytics so far, your experience level, and so on.
Okay, thank you for that. Sorry, I'm not joining with my PC right now, but so I'm just going to, talk without sharing my screen, right? Yes. So my name is Leslie, right? Of course, Leslie F. Young, but you can just call me Leslie. And then um, I'm a data analyst, right? More a training facilitator and also a business intelligence consultant. So I've worked as a data analyst roughly for let's say about 4 years, but that's not like my professional, the total number of years that I've worked professionally. I think this should be like over 10 years. So I started my journey or my career in customer service while I worked with Airtel. And then while with Airtel, because I moved into the role of customer experience relationship manager, and I did lots of management of lines and all of that. But particularly, I had to switch roles to business, uh, more of business operations now, and then I had to, move from interacting with people to interacting with processes within the business, and that's what birthed my drive for data analysis. So I moved into data analysis. Of course, that was late 2019, and started. I worked as a data analyst in Kaduna Electricity. Then also moved into Legend Internet in Abuja. I also worked as a data analyst, but more in the database domain. So ever since then, I've moved to having to train persons, that want to, take advantage of that field. I remember when I started my journey, we didn't really have lots of free resources as we do right now. In fact, most of those resources started coming after COVID, right? So it was it was they were there, but they were not as as available as they are right now. So these are things that I later got to, take advantage of when I had the opportunity to. So basically, I've been training for a couple of times. I've trained people from several industries and sectors, and I believe that it's a train or is a process or is a journey that if you're part of, you're definitely going to have full knowledge of the entire data analytics well, field, or should I say, career path, as it were. So I'm also Microsoft certified, right? I think I got that certificate in 2024, and also a project manager. Of course, when you're a data analyst, you also have to take into consideration a couple of other fields that you have to integrate into your data analytics career. So those are just the background around what I do. And just like I said, I've actually anchored training. So you can search me up on LinkedIn, Leslie F. Young, and you'll see me there basically. So yeah, that's just the little background of what I do. Then in terms of I think specialties, I train on all the modules, but I think the one that I really enjoy and that really I've really seen that a lot of people run away from is SQL. But if you really want to take advantage of that knowledge, then I believe that this is the best place for you to start your journey. All right. So thank you, Mr. Prosper.
All right, welcome. So thank you very, very much for that brief introduction. So our instructor for data analytics, Mr. F. Young, first is Microsoft certified data analyst. So if you are looking forward to reaching, advancing your career in data analytics, it doesn't just stop about on it doesn't just stop at learning within these 3 months duration. You have to proceed to getting your certification from Microsoft Power BI. All right. So just like in cybersecurity, I explained yesterday that you have international certifications that you can go for. All right. So Microsoft Power BI is an international certification body that if you have it, you would not really have much problems in looking for jobs or in getting freelancing gigs. All right. So, and also one other thing I want to point out from um, what our instructor said is he doesn't just know how to do, but he's doing, right? That is what I always say about our instructors. There are people that are in the field practicing what they are teaching, all right? They are not about the teaching, but they are practicing. You could hear him say he has worked with corporate organizations. He has also facilitated for corporate organizations as well. Okay, so the second question that I have for you, Mr. F. Young, is in your view, why is this data analytics important? Everybody, as at last 2 years, last year, data analytics has been flying all over the internet. It's just like if you don't know data analytics, you are not you are not part of the 21st century. So it has been like that. Data
Yeah.
analytics has been on the trend. All right. So why is it actually important for persons to gain knowledge in data analytics at this point?
Okay. So I'll rightly start by saying that the world, has gone beyond traditional data storage into digital data. I wouldn't say it's going. It has, in fact, it has gone long ago. And if we are still at this point trying to understand what to even do with data, we are way behind. So I believe that's one of the driving forces towards the fields like data analysis, because there are other areas that you should also take into consideration, things like maybe cloud computing, database administration, and the rest of them. Now, the reason why all these fields are actually, even cybersecurity too, the reason why these fields are beginning to thrive, just as data analysis, is because um, there is now the introduction of a key element, which is data. And data is generated on a per second basis, not even hourly or monthly or weekly now, but almost on a per second basis. So let's give a practical example. You have a smartwatch that records your heartbeat when you go out to jog. That data is stored somewhere. You have a smart home that has information about maybe your voice, your routine schedules and the rest of them. That data is stored. Now, what you are what you are seeing would not be the underlying data, but rather it will it will be rather your more like a dashboard that shows you that's compressed information, and then shows you the visualizations, the graph, the the um time series, right, and all of that. And by the time you're able to join and put all of them together, you're able to make sense out of it. Businesses these days are moving towards not just digitalization, but now into acceptance of artificial intelligence, machine learning models, and the rest of them. So, in consideration to all of this, data analysis is something that I feel everybody, because I am looking at it like in years from now, data analysis will be one of the prerequisites for you to even take to even have certain kinds of roles if you want to work in an organization. So you have to have knowledge of how to analyze the organizational data. But another reason why data analysis is important is because it looks at data at a descriptive level. So you're looking at historical data and then making sense out of that historical data to bring about uh, insights that the company can work with and make decisions based on that. So at the end of the day, you find out that organizations are more they are more productive, operations are more efficient. You have teams collaborating more because data has been coordinated, and the organization is not just making information by guesswork, but rather by data. So these are some of the reasons, right, why data analysis is very crucial in our world today. And then at the end of the day, you realize that no matter how uh, how many people are joining the field, it still doesn't mean that you have enough people in there. So the idea is not becoming a data analyst, but to be a proficient data analyst. Because at the end of the day, we're not just looking for, or you're not just looking at, oh, let me just learn. No, but what is the end goal of that learning? It is to actually build a solution that can last. So you have to take it beyond just learning and then implementing. So that's basically it.
All right. All right. Perfect. All right. So basically, the key points that I got from the explanation is that data analytics is very critical to it, your your relevance as a person, even in the industry. All right. So it cuts across various fields. The knowledge of data analytics is quite crucial. If you're interested in pushing forward or in learning data analytics, then I believe this program is going to be a head start for you to actually begin. So the next question I have for you, for students that are serious about taking a step towards gaining mastery in data analytics, what are the steps recommended for them? You would recommend as a beginner, an entire beginner.
All right. So basically, you the first step is actually learning, right? Because you cannot, for instance, become a doctor by wishing to be a doctor. So you have to be trained to be a doctor, for instance. So it is as a data analyst, you can't become a data analyst by wishing. So you have to learn and then allow yourself to be mentored, right? So these are some of the steps that you would need to take um, to becoming a data analyst. So you learn, subject yourself to programs like this. Uh, and let me make something clear. You see, we have not valued the place of knowledge in Nigeria, for instance. A lot of people pay like money to learn courses, but most times you realize, oh, okay, how much do I need to pay? And then you go there, let's say someone goes like, the fees, let's say 500,000, and be like, no, 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 how much would my salary be now? But the truth about it is, if you learn in a quality way, you will get a quality job that would pay you times, you can even get times three of that amount at the end, at inception, at just starting here in Nigeria, right? But most times we rather just want to, oh, okay, let me just, learn. But it's not about learning, it's about allowing yourself to go through the process. So the steps I'm going to recommend is, first of all, you need to undertake a training like this. So for instance, I'll tell you my data analytics journey. Before I started working, I attended a boot camp, and that was probably like the first time I ever heard of the word boot camp, right? So I attended a boot camp, and I paid most of money for it. In fact, I had to pay it twice because I wasn't having so much at that time. But the knowledge I gained, right, led me on this course that I am today, on this path, because I learned first, then I went back to go and learn again. Because that initial period, I mean, it was like 6, was it 12? Was it, I think, 12 weeks or so, or less than, or even 6. And it was just weekends. We're having those classes. So for the first time, I heard about Power BI. For the first time, I heard about Tableau. I was like, these are great tools. And then I started learning. So after the boot camp, I learned. Then I had a team lead then who served as my data analytics mentor. So he was the one that put me through. If I got into any challenges, I'll meet him. How do we go about this? How do you do this? We worked a lot with databases as at that time. So um, because I was encountering lots of challenges, it helped me develop faster. So that's one thing that you need to do. You need to work on projects. Don't just say, I'm learning, reading, reading, reading. No, you need to work on projects, build a portfolio so people can see your proficiency, and then make the mistakes. Let people correct you, and then eventually you become better. So those are just the steps to take. Okay.
All right. Keyword, portfolio, portfolio. All the instructors that have come, that have had sessions with us in the past, the keyword has been portfolio building. This is very, very important. Like, it's not like the instructor said, it's not just about learning, right? It's not just about learning. You have to build projects to see what, for people to see what you're up to, what you can do, what your capabilities are. All right. So you learn, you build projects, you work with people, you get mentors, and of course, I understand Mr. Leslie, your instructor, is going to be one of your mentors. So is it going to be a journey, a continuous journey to meeting or hitting your dream? Somebody was raising up their hand. I don't know who was that, whether it's a question or
Hello,
is that
sorry, good evening.
Mr. Big Juice. Yeah, good evening.
Sorry to cut you off. I wanted to ask, data analysis and business analysis. I don't know, is it like still the same, or can you help us like try to differentiate between the two? So I don't know if it's still the same thing or it's like a two different course entirely.
Okay. So
Did you get me, sir?
yeah, yes, I got you. I got you. Can you hear me clearly? You can hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, great. So there are two different places, right? But you know, they have places where they meet, because these are domains that are, should I say, in tech, for instance, you can always find points where one domain relates with another domain, as it were. So for data analysis, it usually focuses on, say, patterns. When you look at data, you look at the trends in that particular data, and then eventually you use statistical methods, or should I say descriptive statistics, most of the time, to come out with insight. And also you engage some of your analytical tools, like Power BI, Tableau, and the rest of them. So that one, it's mostly, like I said initially, that data analysis is more of a is more tilted towards descriptive analysis, or should I say, what we, a lot of us might, uh, get to later understand as maybe descriptive statistics or so. Because most times the answers questions, they are just basically two questions that such areas of data analysis answers, like, what happened in a particular problem. So let's say your sales is going down. The question will be what happened in, let's say, quarter two of, this particular sales year. And then as a data analyst, you go ahead, explore the data, look at historical data, bring out the insights and all of that. But for business analysis, what happens in business analysis is that it focuses more on understanding the needs of a business, right? So what you're doing is you are not coming from a technical standpoint as a data analyst. You are relating a lot with stakeholders within the business, right? And then it is it is focused on things like what area or what are some of the core components of the business that we need, to make progress or to move forward, or how can we improve our business process. Although these are things that as a data analyst you can also fill in their shoes, but business analysis is actually tilted towards that aspect. And the tools that we use as data analysts is quite different from the one business analysts use. So
Yeah, that
for us
was what I wanted. I wanted to ask if like do we make use of Microsoft Excel to like the Microsoft Excel, the Python and all that? Like do we make use of it
okay,
in the business analysis too?
in business analysis, you make use of Excel. You make use of things like PowerPoint because you'll be doing lots of presentations. You use tools like maybe Miro, Asana, or Visio, Microsoft Visio. Yeah, you use that because you'll be creating lots of processes in the business or maybe workflows. Then in business analysis, you also work a lot with enterprise resource planning systems, that's ERPs. Something like Office 365, for instance, or if you have used Odoo before, something like that. And then you use Jira, for collaborations within the team, right? So, but for data analysis, even though me as I'm speaking for myself as a data analyst, I still use some of these tools because I still use tools like Miro for collaboration because, like I said, based on what I do, it tilts also into a little more of project management, right? So, but my core tools as a data analyst are centered within SQL, Python, and Excel. But even Excel, Excel is like a foundation that everybody, whether with whichever field you find yourself, you almost use it, right? So there is Power BI, which I use mostly for my visualizations. I don't use Tableau all the time, but I use Power BI. Then I use SQL because I need to go into databases to extract information where I work from. Then I use Python some of the times to carry out some maybe analysis, or maybe if I want to go into predictive modeling, then I can take a little of that. But for business analysts, they don't need all that, right? So they are okay with just CRM, maybe ERP, and just like that. Then PowerPoint, Microsoft Excel, just for presentation because they are not really analyzing data as we do. So, but we can work hand in hand on projects, basically. All right.
Okay, Mr. Big Juice, I don't know if the answer was satisfactory.
Yes, it was. It was. Thank you. Thank you very much. It was.
All right, perfect. So,
Sorry, please. I wanted to ask too.
okay.
So now the business analysis and the data analysis, which will you think we should take on first? Like considering the fact now that we are like an entire beginner, like we are just starting to get used to the system. So will you suggest we go for business analysis or we pick it up from data analysis?
Okay. So, in all honesty, to answer your question, because I don't want to answer from a biased perspective, first of all, I'll say it's all dependent on you and what you want. Because if I say take data analysis first, these are like, you have to understand that there are different fields, right? Business analysis is different entirely from data analysis. Just like saying data scientist and data analyst, they look like they are the same, but they are not the same. You understand? So, but it's just like this. But what I can say is, for based on interest, right? Most of the time, a lot of people go to data analysis, but if you are someone who is not very keen on learning the tools right now, you are more keen about learning the processes of business, then you should go into business analysis. But if you are coming in as a data analyst, be rest assured that you can fill in the shoes of a business analyst, because at the end of the day, you are learning from a technical standpoint, but based on your exposures and work, well, exposures at work, you also begin to unconsciously, in quote, play the roles of a business analyst. That's in organizations that they don't have one. But it takes time for you to get there. So, but if you're learning as a business analyst, or if you're starting off as a business analyst, you would have gotten knowledge of the, business domains, the process flows, what we call, the workflows and all of that around the business. But then, in terms of the technical skills of a data analyst, too, not of a business analyst, you may be lacking. So that's just it. Really, it's personal preference. But if you ask me, I'll say you can start with data analysis, and then as time goes on, learn. If you start with data analysis and you learn business analysis, it's easier. Sometimes if you start as a business analyst, you might just want to stay there, right? So that's just it.
Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you very much. Thank you very much.
All right. So in essence, it is better to take the hard part. It's better to go the hard, um, to tread the hard part before you go through the easier part. So from what I can understand, business analysis is the easier part. All right. So it's better you go
Yeah.
through data analytics and then you can easily migrate into business analytics as time goes on. But if you start with business analytics, you might not be able to fit in into roles that require data analytics professional. Okay. So Mr. John was raising up the hand. I think he's no longer in the meeting, probably network issue. All right, so I'll just go straight. I don't know if there's any other question before I continue. Any other question from any other person? All right, so I'll go to my fourth question. My fourth question basically is there any foundational skills? All right, the foundational skills required for beginners, complete beginners that want to get into data analytics. Any foundational skills and knowledge that is required?
Okay, so let me speak from my own experience. I think the only foundational skill I think I had when going into data analysis was the desire to think in an analytical manner or something like that. Because let me give you a little example. I had this group of clients when I was with Airtel. They are postpaid customers. Now at the end of the month, their limits, they more like their limits gets, because the monthly limit. So once the limit, once the month ends, it hits the limit, and then they are unable to make calls anymore. Now there was that desire to say, okay, because you have lots of busy people, there are CEOs of organizations and the rest of them. So some of them will say, Leslie, I want a situation where before the month ends, if I don't have like you know enough airtime to be able to extend the limit or subscribe, I need you to notify me. But sometimes, as you as a data analyst, as a relationship manager, then you know to start going over one line after the other, I'm talking of like over 200 customers every month is a tasking thing. So there was that need to say, okay, how can I automate something like this? To say, okay, I want to see all the customers' credit limit. At the end of the day, I want to do a calculation of, what the limits are, how much is remaining. So there's going to be a day to like now till the end of the month. Let me put it that way. Yeah. So day to the end of the month, you know, to have that understanding of how you can help them manage that situation. So because I had that mindset, it sort of prompted me to see how I can, use Excel and the rest of them. So the first thing I think you might need is just an analytical mindset or a curious mindset, because I won't tell you to go and say, oh, you need knowledge of SQL, Python. No, all those are technical skills that you would learn. Okay, then you have to be resilient because a lot of people, once you start learning SQL, their interest drops because they feel, no, this is coding. Coding is hard. This one, that one, no. So um, you have to be resilient. You have to just feel until you get it, right? So write the codes until you know how to write them. So that's just basically it. And then you might, it's good, that you should go and do your research as well. Have an understanding of the tools you're about to use, right? So that by the time you're introduced to it, it's not looking all strange or so that those are just the basic things. So I'm not saying, I don't think that you need to have like any pre-certificate, but I think what you need to have is knowledge of computer. Because if you don't have knowledge of computer, I can't tell you how to go and be typing, go to the keyboard, look for caps, press Windows, no, no, no. So if you have, yeah, I think that's like the major baseline. So have knowledge of computer, at least know how to use your keyboard, know how to type, know how to open, learn what parts are, like system parts. When someone says, when they are saying, oh, copy that file path, you know what it is, know how to create folders, those are just the basic thing, babe. So that's it. All right.
All right. All right. Mr. John, are you here? You're raising up your hand.
Yeah. Thank you so much. But it's like he has responded to my question. So for me, I want to know data analyst as other get from him. It's they have a tools. They can analyze from the tools like data warehouse, BI, business intelligent. But business analyst, I want to know whether they have tools as well. So that all it's just survey, because business analyst it's just matter to know what the customer needs, and you can't just, there is no any tools which can give you the needs of customer. Okay, for example, if I take his experience, he told us about the Airtel. That's a telecom company, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now for the telecoms, now to know what the customer needs, there must be some survey, if I'm not mistaken, to know how the customer are feeling, how they are responding, what they need, such kind.
Yeah.
So that's business analyst. For the data analyst, you just analyze, populate the data which you got, the CDRs, called it a records, if I'm not mistaken. So you just populate, maybe you analyze all those data in the Excel or in the other softwares, so that you can know where the sales are declining or are increasing, and how you can advise, if I'm not mistaken. So now, for the business analyst, is there any tools?
Okay, Mr. John, I think
Forget
we
about
lost
the
you.
AI. AI is just country. Thank you.
Okay, good. So I was saying that for the business analyst, there are tools that business analysts use. Okay, so but I would call these tools organizational tools because First of all, I mentioned that you have knowledge of Excel and PowerPoint because you'll be making presentations as a business analyst, and also Excel because you'll be working on some documents in your spreadsheet. Then, as a business analyst, you will need to know how to use organizational tools like the ERP, that's the Enterprise Resource Planning System, or the CRM tool. So, an example of a CRM tool, for instance, can be Zoho, right? If you know about Zoho, that's one. An example of an ERP is Office 365. Another example of an ERP is Odoo. I think there are others as well that are custom built, but then you have SAP, yeah, SAP ERP. Okay, so all these tools that I've mentioned, even though they are organizational tools, they are tools that business analysts work with. Then, in terms of workflows and modeling or process modeling, you need to know how to use all these diagramming tools like Visio, Miro, you know how to use them. But then at some point, it's not compulsory. But some people ask that you have to, have some knowledge of SQL, but it's not compulsory, really. It's not like it's a baseline requirement. But for data analysts, that's when you need to have knowledge of SQL because of what we refer to as the ETL process, right? So you extract data, you transform, you load the data. So if you are unable to extract the data from the database, you have difficulties basically. So you don't so it's not in all cases where you have a database administrator in an organization that solely that is his role. Sometimes the person working as a database administrator doubles as a data analyst, right? So that's why you have to have some of this foundational, knowledge of the tools. Or basically, those are some of the tools both a business analyst or maybe a data analyst uses. I don't know if that's clear.
Yeah, thank you. Got it.
All right.
All right. That's fantastic response. So the last question I have before we allow some other persons to continue with their questions is for persons that wish to continue learning beyond this training session, what are the next steps you think they should take? That is beyond the 3 months.
All right. So beyond the 3 months, right? What I think you should do is by the time you've learned data analysis, you realize that on its own, there are very broad things that you can go into. So you can pivot into like a business intelligence analyst, like I am. You can pivot into maybe a data visualization specialist. You can even pivot into being a data scientist, and then also, and then by the time you see all these parts, right, and or you might want to streamline your pivoting now into things like maybe HR analysis or customer relationship analyst, right? So you might want to be all of that, but at the end of this learning, the most important thing that I think you should do is to first of all begin to work on your portfolio. See, one of the biggest mistakes I did then was not working on my portfolio on time. But as you are learning, start. So all those things the activities they gave you while you were learning, use your after learning period to build your portfolio. Two, you need to go back and relearn. You really didn't learn the first time you learned something until you relearn it again. Take all those courses again, go and use more resources, more materials this time around. But particularly, I always advise that you read books, okay, because books help. I know a lot of people might be better at watching videos to learn, which is okay. I do it sometimes, but the things that I've known the most and has stuck with me mostly is because I read them. So I always advise that there are books out there. We can share some of these resources with you during the program. So you read the books, it helps you. carry out some of the challenges there. The reason why I say read books is because books are structured. With videos, you just come, oh, I can come, oh, today I'm teaching you, 10 steps to become a data analyst. And I begin to, give you, oh, I'm teaching you Power BI today, teaching you this. But with a book, it's just like going through the university, so it's structured. You can go through everything after you've gone through this initial training to help you understand what you even do or where you even want to focus on. So that those are areas. Then you now start applying those skills you've learned immediately. Don't waste any time. Start even applying for jobs, mini jobs, take interviews. Some of the interviews you fail them. By the time you have those kind of interviews, it gives you an idea of what possible questions they can ask during an interview session. So those are just the basic things I think you need to do. All right.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much for that response. And I believe that this is a very critical question or important question for most people, like how they can actually benefit financially from the knowledge that they are getting through the boot camp. All right. So, like the instructor has said, of course, portfolio, portfolio, portfolio. We keep mentioning this over and over again. So, if you build your portfolios rightly, you'll be able to apply for jobs, number one, and you'll be able to source for freelance gigs. And like I said yesterday, for those of us that were not here, that were not there present yesterday, as part of the course or as part of this curriculum, at the end of the training, we are also going to treat on how to actually source for freelance opportunities in Fiverr, especially, and Upwork. All right, these are two international platforms that you can source for freelance gigs. People go there to give out jobs. People go there to get jobs as well. All right, so the platform is in two phases. The buyers, they are the sellers. All right, so if you register on Fiverr as a seller, you can put in your services. If you have been grounded in what you are doing, of course, and you have a strong portfolio, put in your services there, and of course, Fiverr takes your profile up so that people get to see. The last time I checked, Fiverr gets about 1 million views per month on their website. So imagining a website where 1 million people come to give out jobs. All right. So if you are positioned properly in that platform, you will not have any issues with earning from this skill. So, but the important thing is first of all to get the knowledge. If you have the knowledge, you are limitless. Okay. So that is all I would like to say. I don't know if there's any questions from any other person or the instructor before we round up this session. Mr. Newton, okay? You can unmute your mic and then ask a question. While we are waiting for Mr. Newton, any other person? Any other person with any other question regarding business analytics, the tools, like we all had said also, yeah. Okay, go on. Yeah, go on.
My question is initially I decided to learn do some online classes on data analysis, but I found out that the programming aspect is too difficult to extend that I can't even learn it. So I want to ask if this platform will be very conducive for me to understand the program or for us to understand the data analysis easily or this is the question that I want to ask. Because initially the programming aspect was too difficult. I was even watching videos on YouTube like more than the rest, but still I was finding it difficult. So this is the question that I want to ask. If this platform will be very easy for us to learn the programming aspect. That's my question, please.
Sorry, just to be clear, which of the programming are you talking about now? Was it Python, SQL, or what? Or
Please,
DAX
it
or
was
what?
Python. It was
Python.
Python.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So so you see, programming is not is difficult, right? I cannot tell you it's not difficult. It's difficult, but every you, I have to be honest with you actually. So the thing is but every okay, so I learned a lesson some years back. What is the best way to eat an elephant? You don't eat an elephant by putting everything in your mouth. You eat an elephant by cutting it into bits and pieces, and then taking it in bits, and eventually you find out that you've eaten the entire elephant. So uh you programming, you can't just stay today and say, oh, I'm going to build an app. No, you always start with the basis. I learned Python basis for 1 year. Like I kept going back, I kept going back, I kept going back. I did not pass flow control for 1 year. And it's and it's funny because it's not like I didn't want to learn it. But I wanted to know it to a point, like you can wake me up and say, oh, eh, what is, and okay, so write this code, or what does this code do, or I needed to build a mini application. With the little knowledge I have, I'll be able to. So after I learned all those things, flow control, then I now went into learning, lots of libraries, Matplotlib, and the rest of them. So my point is, you may not get everything immediately, but the basics, I assure you, you'll get it. The reason why I'm saying so is these are the things that will form foundation for your exploit tomorrow. And even with those little basics, you'll still be able to build some applications that you can showcase in your project. And I'm very honest because with that little that I was telling you, I kept going back and forth. In 1 year, I built a model that could predict stock. So but I don't even know why I kept that work anymore. But you see, the thing is, basically, you'll be able to do that. In fact, it's easier now with AI, right? It's easier now with AI. But the challenge is, don't depend so much on AI because you're now going to miss out on the foundations. It's just like saying, no, I have something that can build a website for me. Why will I need to go and start learning HTML, CSS, and all of that? I'll just go and tell the AI, build me a website from start to finish. But what if the AI now builds and uses a Python, maybe Django? How will he now know how to put the elements if he makes a mistake? A time comes when the codes are not working. Do you even know what you're doing? So those are some of the perks around it. But for programming, I think you should start first with understanding Excel. The reason why I say that is, if you understand Excel, you've understood half of all the programming issues in data analysis. SQL. So why I'm saying that, if you want to know how to run queries well, know pivot table. If you know pivot tables, you'll know how to run queries, especially the aggregate function. It's as easy as that. If you want to know flow controls well, know your if functions in Excel. If you want to know, even if you want to know conditional functions in SQL, you know your if function in Excel. So once you're able to know Excel, it serves as a foundation to know every other tool eventually. All right. So just learn the basics. It will form your foundation, and then you grow from there. So don't see it as difficult and you say no, 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 no. It may be difficult, yeah, but every difficult path, can be traded by somebody. All right. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Nitin, I don't know if the answer was
Yeah,
okay.
I've heard him. I've heard him. Thank you very
Uh,
much.
so, the summary of it all is you have to start from the foundation, get to know Excel, and I believe get to from there you proceed to SQL and then to Python. And then in this boot camp, in this 3 months training, we are going to be focusing on Excel, Power BI, and SQL. So SQL is programming, right? So these are the three core foundational skills that you're going to be learning in the course of the training, and it's going to serve as the launch pad for you to proceed with whatever you want to do. All right. So, any other questions so far? Any other questions? I think we're already behind time. If there are no other questions, I think we can call it a night. So, by tomorrow morning, I'm also going to post the form, the Google form on the group, so we can fill in the course that we're interested in, and then we follow on the next actions. All right. So, if there are no other questions, I think we can call it a night at this point. So, thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining. And then tomorrow we're going to be having another session on digital marketing and cyber security. Thank you so much. Mr. Leslie, thank you for joining. Sorry for the inconvenience.
All right. No, thank you so much, Mr.
So,
Prosper.
yeah,
Sorry.
so we will get a count on the persons that are interested in this analysis, and then have a private WhatsApp group where we can have closer talks on them before the commencement of the boot camp.
Okay. Okay.
All right. All right. Thank you, everyone, and good night.